been wanting to hear from you for a while, sir.
It's a real pleasure to be here in Washington Park and to be with this community. I have to say I have felt moved really to tears at times by these rituals, by the commemoration of this park, by the dedication of the park to people who live here, by the dedication of the park to the people. One man said, "You're talking about trees. We're talking about trees as the shelter of human beings, of building up a society here for all of us." It's not about the trees. It's about the people. It's a great pleasure to be here with you and to see in this meeting the democratic spirit that we value. That is, that we think we should have a voice in the process. The democratic spirit that we come here, people black and white, from other nationalities, ethnicities, and we meet together in a public place and have a public meeting. What we're seeing, though, is that these values, democracy in both those senses of having a voice in your community and having control in your community, is being lost. The powers in this city and the powers in other cities around the country are increasingly the bankers, the insurance companies, the realtors, the developers, and they are taking control of the city. They're not just taking control of the park. We can think of all the other issues. The metropole was mentioned. The houses around the park that have been taken away have been mentioned. We can also think of all the other broader fights going on around here. Think of Fountain Square downtown, where people went to meet and talk. It was an open public space where you could go out and have a meeting and hand out leaflets, have a protest, have a march. Fountain Square is being taken away from us by the same powers, by the banks, by 3CDC, by the developers. We've lost Fountain Square as a public space as they're trying to take away Washington Park. Duke Energy has come in. Our lighting around our streets has been privatized and given over to Duke Energy. There's now an attempt to sell off the waterworks to a water district, to take away the very water that belongs to the people of Cincinnati, one of the most wonderful water systems in the country, held up as a model, and they're going to take away the water system. We have a fight between the people and the powers that want to take away our water. For years this has been the case, these fights going on in the city. Many of you remember the fights that took place over the enterprise zones. Enterprise zones were supposed to come in and help develop Cincinnati, but there was always a fight over whether the money would go to Hyde Park or go downtown or go to working class communities, low income communities, developing communities. Always that struggle that's going on here for decades. I think this is part of a much broader struggle in this city, a fight between the people who are the working people, sometimes low-income people, the ordinary people of this city, versus the people who are the bankers and the corporations. And we have to mount a struggle. I am very proud to have been in a brief time and in small ways sometimes associated with what's been called the people's movement in Over-the-Rhine, with the people of Over-the-Rhine in or out of that movement. I feel very proud of that. For 30 years this community has fought to try to improve the community for the people who live here. To improve the community for the people who live here. That was the fundamental idea. It has to still be defended. But you can't win that fight in one community. I think that's the largest message of this, that we have to build a citywide alliance of all of the working class communities, all the low-income communities, all the communities of working people in Cincinnati to take on these banks and corporations. We need to have the people here with us from Avondale, from Walnut Hills. We need to have the people here from Price Hill and Lower Price Hill. We need to have the people here from North Side. We need all of the neighborhoods of Cincinnati. We need all the neighborhoods united in this fight. Not every neighborhood is like Over-the-Rhine, so close to downtown. Not every neighborhood can be transformed into a community to serve the business interests of downtown so directly. But if you live in Over-the-Rhine, if you live in Avondale, if you live in Walnut Hills, if you live in North Side, don't think they're not coming for you. They will come to your community and tell you how your community should be better run for the banks. Don't let it happen to you. We have to reach out to those other communities and build a citywide movement. We have alliances in some areas. The waterworks workers have reached out to the community to try to keep an alliance with the community. We need to have the labor unions on the right side of this issue. And so I think that that's really the message here. We need to be working here. We need the labor unions as part of this. We need the NAACP as part of this. But we have to be part of a big movement. I think you can't also look at this outside of the other broader context of the whole national agenda. We have right now a nation that is fighting wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. They say they're in state building over there. They have failed to build a state that works over here. We don't have health care here that we need. We don't have the education we need here. We're spending our money in wars abroad and neglecting the people in the United States, the working people of this country. And that has to change. We have to say, stop the wars over there. Quit spending those billions of dollars in wars that are immoral, illegal, in nations where we don't belong. I see young men and women around this park and in this park who need jobs. We need to have a job for every American who wants to work, a full employment economy. Every American who wants to work should be able to earn a living wage. We don't have a living wage now. You can't live on $6 or $7 an hour or $10 an hour. Everyone knows a living wage would be double or triple that to survive in our society. We have to put this in the broader context, but as we fight at home, as we fight in our neighborhoods, to say, don't take away the tree, don't take away the park, don't take away the pool, don't take away our homes. We have to also say, we have to change the national agenda so that we can get the resources to defend our home. We need to build, to conclude here, we need to build a people's movement, not just an over-the-Rhine people's movement. We need a people's movement in Cincinnati, in Ohio, a people's movement in the United States that says, we're through with war, we want to tackle the environment, we want to tackle the economy, we want to change what's happening in the United States.